The danger is that although these commentaries, one may come to falsely equate the living entity with the Supreme Lord. In this way, a conditioned living entity can be falsely directed, and then he can never come to his actual position or eternal activity in Bhakti Yoga. In other words, the Mayavadi philosophers have rendered the greatest disservice to humanity by promoting the impersonal view of the Supreme Lord and thus depriving human society of the real message of the Vedanta Sutra. From the very beginning of the Vedanta Sutra, it is accepted the cosmic manifestation is a display of the Supreme Lord's energy. The aphorism Janmadi Aschyata, Vedanta Sutra 1.1.2, describes the Supreme Brahman as he from whom everything emanates, he by whom everything is maintained, and he into whom everything is dissolved. Thus, the absolute truth is the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. The cause of a fruit is the tree, but when the tree produces a fruit, cannot say that the tree is impersonal and that it vanishes. The tree may produce hundreds and hundreds of fruits, thousands of fruits, but it remains as it is. The fruit is produced and thus it develops, stays for some time, dwindles, and finally vanishes. This doesn't mean that the tree also vanishes. Thus, from the very beginning of the Vedanta Sutra explains the doctrine of byproducts. The activities of production, maintenance, and dissolution are carried out by the inconceivable energy of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the cosmic manifestation is a transformation of the energy of the Supreme Lord. Although the energy of the Supreme Lord and Supreme Lord himself are non-different and inseparable, a touchstone may produce great quantities of gold in contact with iron, but still touchstone remains as it is. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, despite his producing the huge material cosmic manifestation, always remains in his transcendental form. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मृतं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपति गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुश्च कृपा सिंधु वच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्रा जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha, where the extracts from Chaitanya Charitamrita written by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, as teachings of Lord Chaitanya is described beautifully. And we are in chapter 25, where we're discussing personal and impersonal realization. So this is a very broad topic, but some of the prior speakers may have spoken a lot about personal and impersonal realization. But here, in the second part, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a tree and a fruit. So, whenever there are many paths towards God consciousness, some of them are not incorrect, but they're incomplete. So, when these paths lead to different realization, sometimes it is very attractive for a practitioner to be entangled in that method of practice. Sometimes from a very far off place, looks things looks very good, and often we are enamored by those beautiful paths which are laid out by various different scholars. And these scholars, they provide a very confusing understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada writes, is like a tree, and we are products or byproducts of the tree, such as fruits. The fruits ripens, it comes out, it falls down, or is consumed, or it vanishes. But that doesn't mean the vanishing of the fruit leads to the vanishing of the tree. The tree stands next year, summer comes, or whenever the ripening season is, and it gives birth to more fruits. The tree stays. Exactly like that. The source, as it is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in this beautiful purport, is there, was there, fruits came, fruits vanished. Likewise, when you think about a train is coming from a very far off place, a train comes, somebody from a very far off place can see that there is this fumes coming. When fumes starts coming, it doesn't mean a train is coming, but a jnani, for example, hearing the sound may try to categorize, hey, a passenger train is coming, but may a train may be coming. It may not be a passenger train. It may be a cargo train. But by virtue of this sound, by virtue of this fumes which comes out, the person makes a determination that the train is a passenger train. It may be a cargo train. See, a train is coming, but it may lead to different answers based on our understanding. The realizations vary when you rely purely on jnana based on the empirical knowledge which is spoken here. After some time, as the train approaches, then beyond the fumes and the sound, there is this look of a train which maybe 10 bogies, maybe 20 bogies, maybe 30 compartments. But a person would know that, hey, this is a train which has 50 compartments or 20 compartments. He makes an assumption. And then the train passes, train stops in the station, the ticket checker gets you in. He shows you the train, that there is a place for the driver. These are the first or the second bogie are typically the place where the catering unit or the mail unit, trains in India that disperse mail to different parts of India. And after the second or third of catering and personal, there might be a bogie for the security or police. And then it's a collection of 10 or 20 or 30 bogies. And sometimes in the beginning, there will be just general compartments. Then there will be the second class compartments, which are not AC. Then you have AC, and you have first class, and so on and so forth in the train. I'm referring to trains in India, if you can relate to. But the fact of the matter is, you having been inside give you a ample understanding of what the train engine is, where the location of different things are. And then you start visualizing how great, how beautiful this creation of train is. So as you can see, it is still the train, but with Gyan, it leads to different answers. With yoga, with trying to think in the minds, the presence of Paramatma in your heart leads to different answers. But when you see it, when you experience it, it leads to different answers. And the third example we're going to take, because we will like to end the class a little early today, because this topic can be given and internalized through examples. Once upon a time, when there are no iPhones, there are no FaceTime. This is the example I had given in the past as well. So pardon me for duplicating it. You used to get letters from your mom when you are in your hostels saying that, Mom, I'm fine. Mom is saying, son, I'm fine. I'm doing well. But you do not know, mom, by virtue of some of the lack of resources, may be hiding things. So you read the letter in euphemism. The letter looks nice. You think mom and dad are doing well. They do not have any difficulty, because at that time, often if you look at our childhood, many people who are here are from the middle class, lower middle class, or from a lower class in terms of economic development. That's the only thing I'm referring to here. And you think they're well, but they may be having so much of difficulty financially. Fast forward 20 years down the line, you have WhatsApp video, you have FaceTime, then you see the mom over the phone, then you realize Mom is getting old. Maybe mom has some challenges. So your absorption or the knowledge of the new process through the technological development leads you to think that you do not leave anything to imagination. You see, seeing is believing. But then beyond that, the third phase is forget about letters, forget about FaceTime. You want to serve your mom. You want to go there, buy little fruits, buy a little grocery, massage her feet, uh, take her to a you know alternate medicine provider or whatever the case may be. Then mom, you experience mom in a different fashion. It's the same interaction, but the experience vary. The experience of realizing in a very impersonal manner through a letter, through a relatively more personal but not personal enough is FaceTime, and then going flying 10,000 miles to see your mom and getting that feeling. That feeling, it's not just seeing is believing, feeling is experiencing, and that is the personal realization. So the others, the topic is personal and impersonal realization. And the first example we took was of a fruit coming from a tree. Fruit ages, fruit vanishes, but the tree is still there. The source, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as yesterday you were hearing, Lord Krishna is Trigunatit. Trigunatit means he is beyond all the three modes of material nature. He's Triguna Atit, he's beyond. And Lord was there, is there, and will be there. And we are living in a world of the Khalaya Saswatam. It's very temporary, and we don't know. We want to enjoy without Krishna. We want to lord it over the material nature, and we do not care. But with a personalization, when you know that there's someone watching you, you stay regulated. You stay, give value to the community. You give value. So the personal realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead relies on thinking that everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme. And when you think that everybody is part and parcel of the Supreme, you start behaving, you start harmonizing, you becoming coherent, and you live in a community. And you sometimes communities are not perfect, and it will never be perfect because we are living in an age of quarrel and hypocrisy. But knowing that you all are part and parcel of the Supreme, and these beautiful lectures which are going on around all the time, it gives you that impetus that as part and parcel of the Supreme, we need to behave well, work coherently, even if it is not 100%. You have given the 100%. It may come out 60%, 70%, 80%, but you have given your 100%, and that is the outcome of this. So, hope these three examples we spoke about. The first example of Srila Prabhupada, where you could see the value of difference between personalization and impersonalization, because this is where Srila Prabhupada is very strict on Mayavadis. And here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that 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 the Mayavad philosophy, thinking that Mayavad philosophy is disguised as Vedanta philosophy, is more dangerous than Buddhism and atheism. Lord Buddha came at a time when Buddha is one of the avatars, incarnations of the Lord, but he came and his method was probably right at that time because there was a lot of cruelty happening. And as we have a plate of different philosophies, the Mayavadi philosophy, Srila Prabhupada is writing, is more dangerous than Buddhism or atheism because in a veiled manner, they have disguised this beautiful subject matter. Sometimes what happens, you will realize that you want to go and tap on a sweet in a sweet shop. You want to tap on a sweet shop, and that is what you want to buy. But there will be somebody who incorrectly passes a comment which influence your ability to pick that sweet. So by being opinionated, we have done a disservice to this entire process. By being opinionated, the opinions are free. Actually, in a few hours, the India will find a new series of government, whether at the state level or at the central level, depending on whether the current party wins. But all I'm saying is everything is opinionated in an election year. We are also going to have election at the end of this year in United States, and back in India there is election going on right now. Everywhere it is opinionated. This opinion is, when it is not backed by facts, leads to crisis, and that is what is happening right now. There are so many streams of religious sentiments. They're not spiritualism. They do not see us as spirit souls. Even if we think we are going to engulf ourselves in the Brahman, or Paramatma, and you want to see that in your heart, but you have you everybody has personality in this world. A kid has a personality of his own. A person has a personality of his own. Your dad has a personality of your own. But the Mayavadis have said that when these kids have a personality of his own, they walk certain way, they talk certain way. Sachin Tendulkar hits cricket in certain way with his eloquent, elegant cover drives, and uh, everybody has a personality of their own. But the Mayavad philosophers, they cease to believe and profess that God can have a personality of his own. They just they says God doesn't have a personality. When we mere mortals have personality of our own, how dare certain people can say Lord doesn't have a personality of his own? This personalization is very important in this age of IT. It's all about personalization. How personalized your iPhone can become to serve you is more important. So Lord is a person, and that realization, we have taken 4 or 5 examples: the train example, the fruit example, the letter, and going and serving example, and I hope you have understood a little from the personalization and impersonalization, and why it is very important. And the next topic, uh, which I really want to touch upon, 26 chapter, which talks about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the age of 24, he was a beautiful sannyasi at the age of 24, because he took sannyas, and straight away after that he was in Jagannath Puri. So seeing Lord Jagannath, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell on the floor in ecstasy. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was the chief of that entire Puri temple, and he thought that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such beautiful sannyasi, is going to fall down in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, Kali. So he took him to his house, and he talked about Vedanta Sutra for 7 days and 7 nights. After 7 days, 7 nights, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, I cannot understand what you're saying. Lord is there. By your explanation, you have covered that with dark clouds. I can't understand. Then he explained little bit about why Lord is a person, and he showed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya the six-handed form: Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Kamandalu, Ramji with arrow and bow, and Krishna with Bansi. He showed six-handed form because he was Krishna himself. He showed the Sadbhuj or six-handed form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And after that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya realized, and after that, in order to test whether Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has understood the personal and impersonal form realizations, came Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to go to Jagannath Puri temple every day. One day he got Jagannath Prasad, and when he knocked the door of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya opened, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put some Jagannath Prasad in his face, in his mouth, and when he took it, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You just got up. You have not taken bath." He was teasing actually. He was teasing to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied that Lord's Prasad uh, is universal, and he took it. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recognized that he has transformed from an impersonalist to a personalist. And this interaction, and so many such personalities you might have heard about, the four Kumaras. Four Kumaras wanted to stay as celibate and wanted to uh, increase their knowledge with Jnana Yoga. But when the smell of Tulsi from Vishnu in Vaikuntha, when they were protested or chased away by Jaya Vijay, who were the gatekeepers, when the aroma of Tulsi came, it suddenly shifted to personalism. From impersonalist, they became personalist immediately, because the aroma of the Lord could change them. The four Kumaras, they're the kids of Brahmaji, because Brahmaji created them so that they could procreate. But instead, they didn't procreate. They wanted to just go around the world, and they didn't grow up, and they wanted to acquire knowledge. That didn't make Brahmaji happy. But finally, when the aroma came, they became greatest bhaktas. So, seeing and experiencing is believing. So always give that angle in your devotional life, in your spiritual life. Whenever there is any doubt, it's better to clear up, but not to follow an incomplete method of Krishna consciousness, which will take us in a totally different direction. So we can go on and on, but I would like to end here. I'd like to hear your reflections. Thank you so much for your kind attention. I hope this discussion, this quick discussion around personalized realization and impersonalized realization is clear in your mind. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'd like to hear some of your comments before we end. Here I'm ending a little early because I really do not want to linger this. We have picked up some specific examples, and I think it has helped all of us in our ability to understand and perceive that Lord is a person, Lord is a supreme person. That's why Srila Prabhupada always mentioned Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. He's a person, he has a personality, and he's a supreme personality of Godhead. He didn't call him God, he didn't call him Lord, he called him supreme personality of Godhead. That means he's a person. So all your realizations, hopefully, about impersonalism, realization, and personalized realization is realized and understood. If you have any question or comments or reflections, please mention so that we all can hear your thoughts. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any comments?
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. You have explained so nicely. I understood perfectly well.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing and hearing regularly. I see that you have you also went to Sadhu Sangha. So most of the time, whenever we go to different places, we recharge ourselves. Sometimes what happens is bhakti is very dry, and it's not as if it doesn't happen to us. It happens to a lot of people. it happens to devotees as well. So it is. I just wanted to mention that you traveled and after that you are back in. It takes a lot of toll when you travel. We all become tired. But so thank you for your enthusiasm in hearing Krishna Katha and participating all the time. Thank you so much. Dandavat.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Any other comments?
No.
Anyone else would like to add anything? Amritanand Prabhu, yeah, you raised your hand. Please ask or opine.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Please accept our obeisance all Krishna Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Nice class. I like the way you give everyday examples that we can relate to. Then it becomes easier to understand the subject matter. Thank you for that. Prabhu, my question is that we have the three stages of realization, Brahman, Paramatma, and Krishna. Now, in a sense, Krishna is absolute. So even the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan is absolute. There's nothing lacking in Bhagwan. So what's the big deal, or what's, if someone has an affinity towards Brahman, or the Jnani with the Paramatma, or the devotee with the Bhakti, with the Bhagwan, I mean, what's the big deal? Why? Yeah, I mean, not downside. Why is it, how do I say, why is it necessary to have Bhagwan realization when the other two are also absolute? They're absolute.
Understood.
It's not that you got it, right?
Yeah. So one aspect of it, which La Prabhupada has mentioned in one of his commentaries, is whenever we merge into the effulgence of the Lord, we are using Lord as a launching pad, or where we are merging into. So as devotees, our desire is to serve and be at the lotus feet of the Lord and not use the Lord. So one, this is a very interesting question you have asked. So I would like to relate to something I have heard. Is in our process, in other process, they go get some benefit. Yesterday, Prabhuji was saying, there are 4 kinds of people who come. We are actually the other side. We say, what can we do for you? If Lord appears in front of us, we'll say, well, how can we help you? That's how. So thinking that we would merge into the effulgence of the Lord, which is one of the aspects you mentioned, is counterintuitive for a devotee. How can we use Lord as a launching pad to we are so impure. We pretty much know how impure we are in terms of our process, our day-to-day life, our thinking process. Always we're trying to gather more and more. We all, I mean, there might be some Mahatmas, but the fact of the matter is there is so much of impurity in our process. So we trying to use the Lord as a launching pad to merge into the effulgence, which is one of the 3, is an example I can give as to I think I've heard this from His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj also. This thing what I'm saying, which is why it is inconceivable for a devotee to think that we will merge into the effulgence of the Lord. So that is something I would like to comment, Prabhu. Is that okay? There could be more, but this is something I would like to add to your.
I mean, what you're saying is perfectly right, Prabhu. For a devotee, the other two would just not be tolerable, so to say.
Right.
But then for each person, there is a Mayavadi. For him, devotion won't be tolerable. And then he would be only content with the Brahman realization.
Mm-hmm.
So why the insistence, so to say, insistence, quote unquote,
Right.
to follow
Yes,
bhakti?
yes. So if a person is too much into the yogic path, not in the bhakti path, as you're saying, why should we pull him into bhakti if he is content with that, right?
Yeah, that's also absolute in one way.
Yeah. So my reference to that would be uh, to mention little about the overreaching benefits of bhakti, but we should not pressurize them, as you have said. If they are into some path and they're realizing in certain way, who are we to sort of, if somebody deliberately sleeping on the floor and he doesn't to sleep on a bed, why are we insisting to, hey, you buy a bed and then sleep on the bed? If that is what your point is, absolutely. So that's where Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, if somebody is from a non-sampradaya or apasampradaya, it's better not to hear Krishna Katha from them. They will present Krishna Katha in a very sort of difficult manner, which will reduce our ability to understand it. So in that context, Prabhu, we should not try to convert them. You just tell them the greatness or goodness of the Krishna conscious process we have. But I agree with you because sometimes when we try to sell books or don't distribute books, we should not be insisting. Actually, we should not make them irritated in our ability to sell books. But if we have something nice like a book or something, we should gift it so Krishna consciousness is a gift, and we have to share it. If they are not ready to accept it, I am with you. Actually, we should not make a big deal about them. But the thing, what happens through is sometimes those devotees who are in that path, some of them may not be regulated, and we see them words becomes actions, actions become, you might have heard about that. So what happens is, when we we are strong and we realize that these people want to stay in Jnana Margi or the yogic method, you shared our you've given them our Bhagavad Gita, you've given them our Srimad Bhagavatam, and they're fine. That's it. There is no and you have tried enough, and maybe they need some mercy from the Supreme to really get them to where you want them to be. So let's not try to be a godfather in our ability to share. If you have shared enough, you have compassion. That's why you are sharing in spite of their repulsion attitude. You tried once, and if they don't, better not to hear their, because sometimes it will affect you in your devotion. And to your question, I agree. We should not stretch it too much with them, because they will come against you, and they will counter you, and they will give their philosophy in such a manner that if you are not potent enough, or you are not convinced enough, you have not studied enough, you will you lose this beauty of bhakti you have to them, which is a futile thing. So I agree. Either way, you tried once, give them something, you did invite them to your house for Bhakti Vriksha, gave them prasadam, and if they would stick, they would stick. Otherwise, there are other people. There are many people in this world who are ready to, who haven't heard Krishna consciousness, and we have a big market to really discuss Krishna consciousness with, spread Krishna consciousness with, and there's no dearth of devotees who are waiting to be devotees. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu, very nice. If no one has a question, I'd like to share something.
Sure, please.
But if someone has a question, they can ask. Oh, we have time, 15 minutes more. So Prabhu, you were mentioning about these book distribution and a couple of realizations, and I was seeing how, the limitations are in our mind when we talk about book distribution. So there are two instances, one which is recent, book distribution on Saturday, day before yesterday, and the other one was perhaps 2000, yeah, about 22 years ago. 9/11 had just happened, Prabhu, and there was a lot of outcry. And so much so, in Oak Tree Road, there was a restaurant called The Afghan. They used to serve Afghani food. And some people went and stoned and, whatever they did to show the anger because it's on 9/11. And maybe the following January and February, we were doing book distribution at Oak Tree. And over there, Prabhu, there was a man dressed up completely like a Taliban. Literally, what you see on TV, the images with the turban and big beard and, wearing the Pathan suit. And it was kind of snowing, a light snow. And he was standing near his SUV and he was looking at us very intently. And for all practical purposes, he he looked like the Taliban, or at least the image of a Taliban. And I said, wow, this person really has guts, in such a sensitive time to come out dressed like this. And then typically our tendency is we approach book distributions to people who look like us or maybe from India or something like that. So I was thinking what would happen if we distribute to him, go and approach him. But he looked like those ruffians and thing. And anyway, we have these misconceptions in our mind. So we approached him and, gave him the Bhagavad Gita. And then he spoke in a most polite manner. You would expect, either a curse word or something, but he spoke in the most polite manner. And he says, I respect what you're doing. I've been observing you guys for a long time. To be out here, there really must be something in this book that brings you all out here in this weather. And you're doing this. But thank you very much. I have my Holy Quran and I get all my answers over there. But I respect what you guys are doing. So what the initial impression that we had, and vis-a-vis all these preconceived notions, and it was a complete 180 degree, so to say. Now on Saturday, Radha Prem Pradamata and Sachirani and others were doing this book distribution on Newport waterfront. And there it is a mixed crowd of Indians and white-bodied people and Hispanics and Chinese, and it's a mixed thing and a pretty busy area. People are jogging, walking, strolling, whatever over there. And then one person came to the book table, and you would be surprised at what he said. He's from the Islam faith, Prabhu. And he says, I know this book, Bhagavad Gita, he was referring to. I know this book. When I was a kid, my grandmother used to read me stories from this book, from the Bhagavad Gita. A Muslim gentleman with a Muslim grandmother. Only thing he said, it was in Hindi and it was really huge. And it had a lot of picture. You guys here have just, 4 or 5 pages of pictures. So she used to tell me these stories. And he took a copy of Bhagavad Gita, this gentleman. So we never know when we get out on book distribution whom we come across. And what the lessons learned, Prabhu, is that approach whoever, yare dekhe tara kaho. Mahaprabhu didn't say that, only Indians dekhe to tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. He says, yare dekhe tara kaho Krishna Upadesh. And people really respond. There was a Chinese couple, and that Mataji, the wife, had gone all the way to India, stayed there, learned yoga. And now she is talking about, she's, she's a yoga instructor here in the US. So that was pretty, it was a nice realization to open up our eyes to what Krishna consciousness is universal. It's not Hindu.
True.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And just to add to what you mentioned, our Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur, is born from Mohammedan faith from Bangladesh. And if you go to Jagannath Puri, there are two huge monuments, Siddhabakul, where Haridas Thakur used to have his baitak and his samadhi on the beach. Muslim Haridas Thakur, but who is the greatest Namacharya of our movement. And there are many.
So true. There's the Pathan Vaishnavas also, right, Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
There is a sect called the Pathan Vaishnavas from Chaitanya Leela, Mahaprabhu's Leela.
Yeah, exactly. So Mahaprabhu has touched the hearts, and because we have impurity, we don't connect so well, but we would look for mercy and cleanse ourselves, and hopefully someday we should be able to sort of share our message to them. And some are coming, some may not, but it's okay, absolutely fine. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other comments, reflections? So, if Mr. Prabhu is not there, are you there, Prabhu? Amritanand Prabhu, you want to end today's class?
Okay, Prabhu, thank you very much for the wonderful class. To bring it with prayers to the Vaishnava. Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavrind ki Jai Granthra Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Samaved Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.